Okay, welcome to our second interview segment. You're still watching today on STV, and I'm being joined by Chichi, and I are being joined this morning to discuss the party politics, especially as it has to do with the biggest political party in Nigeria, the ruling party, which has held on to the seat of power for 14 years now. And of course, all the intrigues and all the power play and all the back and forth movements of some people in the party. Joining us this morning is a chieftain of the PDP, Chief. He is also someone who has tested the waters of, it's also contested in his home state of Ekiti, Kayode Otitoju. Sir Kayode Otitoju, thank you very much for joining us. And dare I say that we want to say thank God for your recovery from your injury. We have been away from the circuit for a while, and also to tell you that you're looking quite dapper with your new, with your white beard. Your gray beard is looking quite different, but good too.
And welcome to the show, sir. Let's begin with what your position is on the entire issue. Like Victor said, back and forth. I mean, the PDP, just to say the least, even from members, has appeared to all of us Nigerians as if it's hard to contain your issues. It's hard to resolve whatever it is going on within. And it's so out that nearly does a day go by without one intrigue, the latest being the suspension of those members, and some of them a court has said reinstate them. What really is your position on all of these issues?
Yeah, the party is big and it has its problem of being big. So, and when anything is big and there is no proper coordination, then some things are done hodgepodge and haphazardly. So that's for that. The court ruling, probably it had not gotten to the party by the time the party took the decision it took.
And so we expect that when it gets to the party, what happens?
Yeah, because I will expect a party that is being run by rational human beings to know that, party politics is a game of number. You don't sacrifice your members, on the altar of, trying to keep your office. Okay? Because what I've seen is that the people in the executive, they trying to build empire, within themselves, so that it becomes difficult, for anybody who has been, away to come in and still be part of it. Because at the end of the day, I don't think Mr. President will be happy with the step being taken yesterday. Because head or tail, we lose. Yeah. They won't be happy because there were a set of 7 governors, then some former executive members like Jaja and Co, together with Chunyilola. All these people are strong members of the party. Forget about the MPP, new PDP or whatever. PDP remains PDP. And they too knew that actually it's by being member of PDP that they can have political future. Not minding the romance by APC and whatever. They know that actually their future lies on being member of PDP. But when a few people within the party secretariat now see themselves as, trying to just protect their seat at the expense of the larger...
Oh, this is what you think is going on?
Yeah, simple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, but coming from a PDP member, not just a member, you are one of those in the Southwest that has also been seen as a leader in your own right of the party. But let me ask you, we are looking at a situation where Sam Jaja, Kauzaure, Baraje, and of course Onyilola were asked to leave, were suspended yesterday. I mean, And it says it borders on anti-party activities. The party said that what they did contravened section 58 sub 1 B, G, H, and I of the party. What, in your opinion, is anti-party about what has been happening, especially when a lot of people in the PDP, remember that before now they said, okay, it's a family affair, we'll find a way. But gradually it is taking a dimension that even a court order that was given as at last week is yet to be given to your party. And instead, of course, as Oyinlola has said, that the suspension is a circumvention. It's trying to circumvent that court order. What, in your opinion, is anti-party about what has been happening in your party?
You see, just as I said in my opening remarks, that I wonder the type of people that advise the national chairman. I'm sure if someone like Baba Anini, Tony Anini, were to be in the shoes of the party chairman, they won't do what they did yesterday. Because, you see, this person started the problem. The problem started with Oyinlola when in January, probably through to one court ruling, they said, okay, he wasn't properly elected. And that now dovetailed to NGF and some PDP governors collaborated with him, okay, and said that actually, you know, this is former governor and is our representative in the executive. And again, the now APC governors now merge with those, unquote, dissident governors. And when they now went for election, because of some PDP governors working in tandem with other opposition governors, they had the majority. And by so doing, Amechi became the chairman of the, you know, that faction, while PDP now had his own. So now that God wanted to solve this problem naturally by bringing this court ruling at this material time, saying they should reinstate Oyinlola, and that will be the end of new PDP.
Now you have answered that.
Will be the end.
But let's look at what has been going on ever since this crisis began, and Nigerians have been watching with key attention, because this party has said they would hold on power for the next 60 years, boasts to be the biggest in the whole of Africa. At the helm of affairs in Nigeria has been since 1999 and is still in power. So it's important that we watch and see exactly how this can happen, this big ambition of holding on to power for 60 years. And specifically, people have pointed out that if the suspension of these members now, the latest one that has happened, is hinged on the new faction, how come the G7 governors were not affected? How come some senators, some lawmakers who are also aggrieved by what they perceive to be something going on in the party they are not comfortable with? So really, what do you think is behind this suspension? Let's clear that.
You see, when you see the 4 people suspended, they are real core party members. The secretary, okay, then the chairman Northwest, okay, then the former chairman South. You get my point? So these are people within the party structure, okay, not political executive governors. You get my point? So this within the party, within the secretariat, you know, these people are really people who have worked in the secretariat and who always, from time to time, you know, partake in the discussion, you know. So it's possible that this will be extended to the G7 because Oyinlola seems to be the pivotal fulcrum for them, for the G7, and by extension, some senators, some House of Rep, and whatever. So let me be clear, and let me get this point clear, because as it concerns someone who has invested so much in PDP, invested means that actually I've been cleared 2 times. I was cleared to do primaries for governorship in 2006. And in 2011, I was cleared for senatorial election. Before you are clear, you have spent so much, you have canvassed for votes, you have
spent so much in terms of...
Yeah, within your party to make sure that you among the candidate. So it's a lot of investment. Now, for this thing to just, because few people within the secretariat wants to embark on empire building at the expense of what will benefit Mr. President and all of us that are out there, you know, get it right. If the G7 governors are not well managed, and this suspension is not reversed and probably lead to expulsion, it will be very difficult.
Let's bring
for us to make that 60 years.
Okay, yes,
power.
yes, yeah. I had to raise that because let's look at the APC angle to it. Yes, you might say this morning, one of the headlines quoted former President Olusegun Obasanjo describing, I say quoted because it was a newspaper that reported and credited to him to have said that they cannot afford to join other parties, that working with the president is their best option, and that those parties harbor people who should ordinarily be in jail and not be in power, so to speak. Also, Oyinlola himself in today's Guardian has described the PDP as a party of impunity. So in essence, how do you manage all of this and still have anything to hold on to and hope to succeed come 2015?
You see, they say the word of elders are word of wisdom. I buy into what former President Obasanjo said, in toto. Because when you know the people constituting the APC, which is more or less an extension of ACN, you know that actually it will be politically naive for the PDP's G7 to merge with them. But if they have no choice, they will have to. Because if my party says it doesn't want me, and I try as much as possible to, you know, and it's not possible, then there are people out there begging for me to join.
And the second leg of my question, what does it portend for the PDP ahead of
It will be the end of PDP. Let's say it as it is. If the G7 governors, because governors own the states, with the exception of few states where, you know, the governors were planted by court order, like Ekiti or Osun, or where, you know, the people who are holding on to power there are not the really popular parties. With the exception of that, governors own the state. So if 7 governors from PDP should join the governors from APC, that's the end of PDP, at least for 2015.
All right.
So what I'm now saying as a party man is that they should manage this situation in such a way that these people that have affinity for their party, you know, there's nothing like new PDP. The court has pronounced it. There's nothing like. They are part and parcel of PDP. They came to power. They became governor under PDP. So it must be maintained, and must be. The presidency must come in and call the party to order.
Now, let me ask you, even as you're saying these things, are you sure that what you're saying today on STV would not be used against you as anti-party activities
you see,
tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. You know, by definition, the anti-party really, I don't think is the right word to use, even for this suspension, because anti-party becomes so serious when you belong to 2 parties. First of all, you register as PDP, and probably you register at the same time, you know. Or you are a PDP man and you say you work for another party. Like what happened during the election in Ekiti, when the former governor there said that I remain PDP, but I will work for ACN. And by so doing, he now work for ACN. You get my point? And ACN won and he wanted preparation. They said, to hell with you, we have settled you to work for us. So, such situation is anti-party. You are in a party, you haven't registered in another party, but you stay in your party to work for another party. That's one. Then you register in two parties. Then you get my point. But this situation, Oyinlola hasn't registered in another party. There's nothing like new people.
Okay, and now let's also look at, yes, we have talked about it over time, but is it possible that your party lacks internal conflict resolution mechanism? Is it also possible that what has happened because people are afraid to criticize the party? I mean, people that should say, look, the Bamanga Tukur-led leadership is taking us on a path that is not leading us to a good end. Is it also possible that there has been some kind of, silence, if you like, by the elders? Because someone said, whatever the former president is saying now is rather belated. This thing has festered for so long. Is it possible that two questions? The first one is, do you have conflict resolution mechanism within your party, internal ones? Secondly, is it rather belated what people like you, for instance, are also saying, that it is possible that this crisis will take us to the brink, has taken us to the brink, and we could just fall apart?
Well, there is inbuilt conflict resolution, mechanism within the party. And you look at the structure, okay? At national level, we have the executive committee headed by the chairman of the party. The chairman of the party is the number one person in the party, okay? But when you look after that, you move to BOT, the board of trustees, okay? This is like when things get to a certain level and it has to move higher, it gets to BOT. And the chairman of BOT has already commented before this. He said he saw reason in some of the grievances of these G7 governors. Find a way of bringing them together. If they are asking for 5 things and you think you can accede to 1 or 2, do that and let them have that sense of belonging again. Because if they are allowed to go, just as I said, I'm afraid, because majority of them are from the Northwest, which takes almost 1/3 of the total registered voters in Nigeria. 19.8 million.
No, that's the first leg of the
question. So that's the problem.
Okay.
So they shouldn't allow them to leave the party. They should find a way of managing them.
But is it still at the point?
You said
yes.
People, is it because people are not saying the fact, or they are afraid or whatever? People like me have always said what should be. But what I say should be may not be the best. But in most cases, whatever, I prefer, the solution I prefer always come to bear.
But do you think that when this thing has stretched, let's, for instance, look at a marriage between a man and a woman. Differences have come up. And it has gotten to the point that the man or the woman has arrested the man, taken him to police station. They have abused each other on the pages of newspaper and everything. And they're now saying we have differences, yes. But after all said and done, do you foresee in the nearest future a reconciliation that will, of course, blot out all the grievances or the misgivings or the reservations? Do you think that a genuine reconciliation is still possible in this crisis?
Politics is not like family distance. In politics, at times, 1 hour is a long time to effect a change or mend fences. Okay, for instance, people who heard that Oyinlola had been reinstated by the court, maybe about 48 hours ago, okay? today is not the same conception they had then that they are having now. Just to tell you that actually, you know, politics is more or less the most volatile things you can think about. It's very possible if today, and I'm saying it, if today Mr. President hold meeting with those 7 governors, because they still love their party, and say, okay, yes, I've listened to you, I've done this also. Once he says something that is okay, it will trickle down to the party and things will be okay
and
again.
Erase whatever it is.
We can't afford to lose 7 governors from our party. It's not possible. And when you now see that those governors control the states with good voter strength, like in the South, the largest vote comes from Rivers. 2 million votes during the presidential election, the last one. Okay? Then up north, Kano, which is even christened as the largest state in Nigeria. How they came about that figure, I don't know. But, you know, but by voter strength, this is we can't afford to lose this to APC or whatever party they call themselves. Or whatever.
Thank you, sir. But that's a quick reminder, because we remember the entire Southwest, specifically Ogun State, was lost to the opposition just because the PDP had issues that went overboard.
And that's why we must mend our offenses.
And not replicate it on a national scale even. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for coming on the program. We have been talking to Sir Kayode Otitoju, who is a PDP chieftain, and he was trying to bear his mind on some of the issues affecting the party, the PDP. Thank you very much for joining us. The rest of the show continues with our very last interview. Stay with us.